final regular season outing, not only was it quite a really good one, but just kind of, do you feel like with what this year looked like for you, with each building block you talked about, do you feel like everything came together in that outing, and how are you hoping to build off of that when you start tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd say like everything came together. Obviously, successful outing, but some of the other stuff that we look at, it's outside of just innings and runs and stuff like that, wasn't quite where I wanted to be. But the past month and a half or so, I felt pretty good and kind of got more into a routine, and I think being able to go on regular rest helped, at least mentally, knowing that you can do that, I think is a step forward for me. And now all that stuff is kind of behind us, and now all that really matters is the innings and the runs and trying to keep us in the game. So this time of year is just a little bit different, and kind of, at least for me, time to kind of leave what happened in the regular season behind.
David in the front.
Walker, last night obviously emotions got high. You're an emotional pitcher. How do you control all that tomorrow when you take the mound?
Yeah, I don't know if for me control is not really the goal. I think embracing it or channeling it, because it's going to happen, and especially here, obviously, being an hour and a half up the road, it kind of tends to lead to that kind of stuff. And, the energy of our fans and their fans is something that all of us kind of live for in some way, and having done this playoff thing a few times, I think hopefully I've learned how to channel that a little bit, and make it productive for yourself instead of kind of detrimental. And I'm looking forward to it. It's always fun to play in a big packed place, and everyone's got intensity and energy and all that stuff. So.
How much does the first inning mean to just setting the tone for the rest of the game, to put up the 0 and maybe you guys even score before you even take the mound? Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of faith in our offense, and probably the best player in the world leading off for us. So we always feel good first out of the game on the road. And for me, the first inning has been huge this year. Obviously, I've struggled in the first inning, but the games that I've gotten through the first clean have typically been pretty successful outings for me. So. Getting 3 outs in the bottom of the first will be huge for me.
Go to Jack in the second row.
Just how much did you miss pitching in October the last couple of years, and when you look back at some of your postseason success, like what have been the keys to performing well this time of year for you?
I mean, the same thing. Trying to kind of channel the energy, I think, is the huge thing, and understanding that each game is its own kind of war, right? In the regular season, it's 162 games, and there's this. All right, you give up 4 in the first 2 innings, and you got to kind of wear it and protect the bullpen. And in the playoffs, it's not necessarily that way. I think every game is obviously super important, but the way we play, the way we manage is just different than it is in the regular season. And so you're kind of out there just trying to throw punches as long as you can, and trying to keep the momentum, I think, is such a huge part of the playoffs. And we've seen how both the games here, whatever team kind of grabs the momentum late can hold it and keep it, and that kind of leads to wins and losses more so, I think, than it does in the regular season. So that's always kind of been my focus, is just try and create momentum, or at least don't hand it, give it away.
When you look at the year, like, how tough was it, especially as you were trying to work through delivery stuff and figure out kind of where you were at physically? Like, was it tough even within starts to not get hung up on bad pitches, or is it easier to kind of move past if like those things happen in a postseason environment where, like you said, it just kind of moving to the next pitch and not?
I don't think it's any easier or any harder. I think it's all the same thing. I think part of my struggles for sure was just kind of wanting to do it as easy as I it felt like I used to do it. Not that playing this game at this level is ever easy, but 2020, 2021, there was times that the game felt like I just knew what I was doing, and this year there was times that I really didn't. As I said earlier, the last 6 weeks I've kind of felt a little bit closer to myself, and I think that gives you the confidence to kind of go and do the things that you want to do. I think when you're stuck in the mechanic or in that struggle, there's not enough confidence in the ability to do the things that you want to do, and you just get caught in between a lot. And for me, that stuff has kind of faded recently.
Stay here in the second row on the left.
Darren Hayes, KCAL. Walker, how would you describe the magnitude of tomorrow's game, knowing that you don't want to put yourself in a hole where you face that possible elimination in Game 4?
Yeah, I mean, we play in these games every year. Every team that makes the playoffs plays in a game that is the swing game or the big momentum game, and I just so happen to be starting this one. So I've thrown Game 6s, I've thrown Game 7s, Game 3s, game whatever. Like I've thrown all these games, and so that's not the stuff that really I get super wrapped up in. I want to try and go make a quality start and put our team in a position to win the game.
Go to Bill in the third row in the middle.
Two parts for you, Walker. How have you seen this rivalry develop over the years, the last 5 or 6? And does a game like last night, where the emotions kind of spill into the competition, almost play into the Padres' hands more than the Dodgers?
I mean, the first part, obviously, my first couple of years, the San Diego Padres were not the same kind of team as they were now, and we've seen that develop, and obviously Manny leaving us and going to them, not from a rivalry side, but just in terms of the talent that they've started acquiring, I think has definitely been significant, and the past few years have definitely been fun, kind of, not for me not playing, but 21 and 20, the playoffs and things like that. So it's been cool. I think anytime our division keeps getting better, it makes kind of this season more interesting and more fun. And the second part of that, I think maybe you can talk about the momentum of a game like that. If we were playing today, I think the off day is probably beneficial in terms of kind of getting everybody back to neutral. And I think largely, obviously Manny and Jack and that kind of stuff, but largely the biggest drama of that game was the stuff on the field and getting thrown on there, at least for me. So we'll see what happens. I know it's going to be pretty rowdy here tomorrow, and at some point, if you can't handle that, you're not going to win a World Series anyway. So I think it'll be a big test for us and a big positive, hopefully, to come out of it successfully.
And how much pride do you take in being labeled a big game pitcher?
It's kind of the only thing I care about.